Is there anyone who is possibly maybe interested in teaching kids yoga? Francesca.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Like in a hospital, if the little kids are there.
Would depend on why they're in the hospital and whether they can do yoga. If there were kids, if they could do something for sure, if it was cleared by the doctor and just
Or in an orphanage.
yeah, there's so many different places to offer kids yoga, and I think it's definitely a growing field. And a lot of teachers, I know a handful of teachers who do kids yoga as their main form, but for a lot of teachers, it's kind of like their side style that they offer as well.
What do you classify, like, if you're 10 years old? Or 12?
I would say kids yoga is anything up till 12. There's also specific trainings, not here, maybe one day, yoga for teens. Because I think children's yoga is playful, it's imaginative, it's theme-based, storytelling, developmentally based. Teen yoga is slightly different. We can bring in a little bit more adult yoga while incorporating themes that are applicable for that age. So you could start bringing in social emotional skills, you can start weaving in breathing techniques, mindfulness activities to assist with things like if you're stressed at school, if you're writing exams, if you are angry at your friend, almost working with coping strategies and calming techniques that are age appropriate for them. And so the kids yoga course that we do in affiliation with Wellness Connection is based purely on ages 3 to 12 because it is more about playfulness.
From what age?
3 to 12. 3, 4, depending on the child. If kids yoga is like one of my personal favorites. I studied occupational therapy because I wanted to work with kids, and I did kids yoga for quite a while, mostly because it was just so much fun. It can be absolutely silly and playful, and the benefits are just absolutely incredible. So one thing that myself and a friend of mine based in Durban, she's a kids yoga teacher, she owns a company called Yogi Bears, ZA. She is also very passionate about the role that yoga plays in a child's life is very different from what we experience yoga to be. Of course, we experience the benefits, we understand the benefits, but it's very different in its application to kids. So when we look at kids yoga, what sets it apart from adults is that we're not really too fussed about what it looks like, to be honest. In fact, I wouldn't even consider alignment in any means to be important. Rather, it's focused on playfulness, storytelling, exploration, because we know as children, they're still exploring and experimenting with their body awareness. So they're learning to observe, how can I maneuver my body in the same way? They're still developing their coordination, their motor skills, and so for me personally, the alignment of what the pose looks like is the least important thing that comes from a kids yoga class, right? When we speak about kids yoga, and I said they're 3 to 4 because we want the kids yoga space to be a place of non-judgment and a place of a safe space for children. So often at the age 3, 4, some children are very happy to go and leave mom and dad and say, cheers mom, I'm going to yoga. Some kids are not ready to detach as yet. And so if a child came to yoga kicking and screaming and not wanting to be there, as a kids yoga teacher, I would say to the parent, look, I would recommend the child doesn't come to class today because firstly, they don't want to be here. And not permanently, maybe just not today. And so I would rather want them to come and feel like it's a safe space they can plug into when they want to. So it's not a chore, they don't have to do it. Often they feel better after the class anyway, but that's often why it really depends on the starting age for children. If they feel like they're comfortable and they can detach from mom and dad, if they were on that bridge of they want to do it, but they don't really want to separate with mom yet, maybe bringing in some parent and child connection classes where the mom and the kids do the yoga together as a bit of an introduction. It's a nice way you can do partner yoga poses, you can do breathing, it's fun, the moms love it. I used to teach the kids yoga at Retreat Yourself, which is a festival there. I had more moms in my class than kids. Moms are like, yes, something for me. Because it's fun. And I think we also as adults need a little bit more playfulness and fun in our yoga too, which is why we do things like peak pose sequencing where we do a crow and a fun transition, and it's tricky and we laugh because I think it's good to have playfulness. So just from a technical point of view, once you do a 200-hour, just as some other styles, it's not necessary for you to do a kids training in order to teach kids. However, from my personal experience, I've also learned that we sometimes don't know how a kids yoga class is different because we come in with an adult mindset. And I'm saying that because I did that. I came in teaching adult yoga to kids and we were just not on the same page. And then I completely changed the game and learned different ways to teach, still yoga related, but weaving in themes, mindfulness, breathing techniques, as well as fun activities for them to do. Because it's a game, everything's a game, a story, it's a lot more fun, all right? And the structure is slightly different. If we want to look at offering children's yoga, we need to understand what's happening at that age. So if I'm teaching 4-year-olds, it's not really appropriate rather for me to teach tree pose because they're not at an age yet where they are balancing on one leg. Rather, let's do a forest of trees where we're holding on to each other and balancing. Or maybe I'm teaching a tree with the wall because I know they need a bit of assistance. Or maybe I'm doing a completely different pose that's just, for example, just doing this instead of this. So we learn to look at, okay, what are children doing at this age? What is appropriate for them? Not only on a physical level, but social, emotional, and intellectual aspect too. Okay? So we'll look at, for example, a 6-year-old. Okay? 6 years old, 6, 7, they're in grade 1, they're starting to go to school, they're learning about letters and numbers. So I can do a yoga class around the alphabet. So I can say, A, okay, what starts with A? Airplane's not a good idea because that's a trick one, right? No one knows that airplane starts with an A. But you can say, A, okay, what about arrow? Okay, let's do a warrior pose. Okay, and can you imagine that you're pulling an arrow? Okay, B, what about butterfly pose? Okay, sit down, let's do banana. Not banana, let's do butterfly pose. You could do banana pose. All right? And then we say, okay, what comes after B? And they say, C. Okay, what animal can you think of that starts with a C? Cat. Great, cat pose. Okay? And you can move through the alphabet that way. It's appropriate for them because they're learning that at that time. If I did that with a 10-year-old, they're going to think I'm very lame. They're like, that's not cool. So at 10 and 11, maybe now they're starting to interact with their peers a bit more. Now I can start doing something that's a bit more challenging. Okay? Now I can start laying blocks around the room and they must balance from one block to the other. And then we can do partner yoga poses or a little bit of problem solving that gets them thinking a little bit. Okay, so that's how different a kids yoga class can be in terms of what are the, just like we do strength, flexibility, and skill, what are the demands in terms of social skills, physical skills, intellectual skills. Okay, so it's actually quite fun and you can plan as much as you want, but kids yoga class, you can plan it and then you just need to be flexible and adapt. Because you'll go in there and say, today we're going to the zoo, and some kid goes, no, we're not. And you'll say, no, we're going to the zoo, and they go, I don't want to go to the zoo. And then you go, okay, who's going to convince them to go to the zoo? But you know what I mean, kids will test you, and they'll challenge you, and so you kind of have to step out of that teacher role, out of being a parent, a teacher, a person in charge, and you have to become a child with them, while holding that container of structure. Because if you let it go, it's going to go crazy. Okay, so a couple of things about kids yoga that I love specifically is that the classes are a lot shorter. So they generally range from 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the age. And they weave in a combination of a couple, like what we call a changing state. So we'll do a little grounding moment. That just kind of lets the children leave the classroom, leave home, homework, and just arrive that this is now the yoga space. During that time, you can also set rules or boundaries if you wanted to. I try not to offer too many rules because the yoga space isn't one of you should do this or you're going to get in trouble if you don't do that. It's more can you guys decide what rules you want amongst each other. So I might say to them, okay guys, your mat is your little safe space. So when we do our class, I want you to stay on your mat. Okay, this is your magic carpet if you wanted to do that. Okay, and then I might say to them, all right, we're going to do lots of poses today. It's going to get really fun and exciting, but I want us to see if we can listen and work together. All right, and maybe there's something else that you weave in. It's not I'm not saying a rule like you need to stay on your mat. I'm saying this is your magic carpet and this is only your mat. So as long as you can, do you see if you can stand on your mat? It's a different intention, okay? So everything's framed in a more positive, empowering way so that children can come into the space that's not competitive. I don't mind if Sally can do a crow pose and Johnny can't. They're both crow poses to me, all right? And so I think we kind of do the same thing in adult yoga too. It's just because your pose maybe looks like it takes, that's great, but I'm not going to give you a gold star for it, although that would be cool. So we try to teach children that, and they will, they'll say, look how well I'm balancing. And then I'll respond and say, yeah, I can see you trying really hard. I can see everyone's trying really hard in this balance. So we try to create a space where it's not as competitive and it's different from what they do in other extracurriculars. So it's not about who ran the race the fastest, who scored the goal. It's about we all, and I might say, you stayed really still in Shavasana today. That was really good. I saw how still you stayed. It's true. Yes, that's a victory on its own. Or I might say to them, like, I see you really helped a friend with their block today. That's also really cool. Right. So you can, it's kind of finding, you also see we do star jumps. And children learn how to do star jumps. And for me, that's a massive victory because star jumps are hard.
What's a star jump?
Like jumping jacks.
Okay.
Yeah. So we might do that, and that takes a lot of coordination, and it's a lot of planning. So we have to acknowledge that things that are easy for us, because we can do them automatically, need to start somewhere. So we can break it down, help them work together, and make it a bit more fun. Okay? Children's attention span is actually surprisingly better. So with a yoga class, it'll be better than a classroom, because yoga is fun, and classroom is not as fun sometimes. So we need to keep them engaged as much as possible. So a lot of parents have this idea that kids yoga is quiet and relaxing. And I've had a lot of moms tell me, oh, my child, they're so hyperactive, they're so loud and noisy, I need them to do yoga so they can be quiet. And I was like, wow, it's not going to be quiet. There'll be moments of quiet. We might run around and then we'll stop and then we'll find silence. And then we might move, and then we'll find silence. So it's not a 40 minutes of meditation. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's a bit too small to start yoga, but it's close.
Yeah.
But there's little golden nuggets of silence in there, and that's where the yoga lies. Because what our children are going to learn is that I can find these little moments of calm wherever I am. Right. Some of my other favorite things is that yoga is one of the only extracurriculars that children get exposed to that I think places awareness on the breath. And it's not very often that children get taught how to breathe. And I know this seems silly, like we breathe, why do I need to be taught how to breathe? But I don't know if we spoke about this in pranayama in week 1, but when children breathe, they're and then they're stuck in their tummy. Okay, and I don't know where we get that because I used to, yeah. We think I'm stuck in my belly when I breathe in, but then I'll say to children, well, where did the air go? You need to make space. So something that I learned from my friend Cami that I love is she always speaks about breath being your superpower. And she'll say to children, like, your breath is your superpower. So you can use it anytime you want if you want to calm down, right? So anytime you're at school, you're feeling angry or stressed or overwhelmed, that's fine. You can feel that, but you know how nice it is that you have the power to calm yourself down if you want to. Yeah, maybe you don't want to maybe you want to be angry for a moment, and that's fine. We can then calm down later. All right? So we're teaching them these tools, and Cami tells amazing stories because she teaches plenty of kids yoga. And she would say that children would come to her class and say, Cams, I was at class and then the teacher said something and it made me really angry, and so I went to the bathroom and I just used my superpowers. And I thought, that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for me it's like, okay,
I would be.
yeah, you pass yoga. Because as adults, we don't often do that, right? That pause with, we teach them the skills that maybe we learned in our 20s, 30s, 40s. They get that tool a little bit earlier on. And it's not always going to be in the way that we think it should be, but it's going to be good, right? So it's about finding the little moments in between where we can just connect with children, give them these tools, but also let it be fun and form a place of connection. Okay. So when we do our yoga classes with kids, we generally have a very brief layout where we do a change state. So usually that's when we all come to sit in a circle. We might play a singing bowl just to ground in the moment, similar to what we would do in an adult class. Just like little moments of seated check-in here. Then I would introduce a warm-up. So a warm-up is, as it sounds, it's a warm-up. It's a game. We're moving our bodies. We went to get the children into their body. Okay? One thing I learned from OT that will just stick with me forever is that I need to understand where my body is in space. I need to be aware of my body before I can do anything and interact with anything else. Everything starts with the body. Okay? So we'll do marching, we'll do jumping jacks, we'll sing a song, we'll do a dance, we'll get the heart rate going, and just check in. Just arrive here in your body. And I might introduce the theme, which is a little story or a little adventure that we're going on. And then when I get into, once I've done the warm-up, then I can work into the main part of the class. Okay? We don't do peak pose sequencing or any order. It's very random in terms of the postures chosen, and there's a lot of freedom in the postures you use, but it always links back to the theme. So if I'm doing a theme of going to the beach, or we're going to space, maybe I'm doing a theme around the colors of the rainbow, or a theme around gratitude. Okay? There's always that underlying tone that will weave its way into the class. Okay? And then I'll do a cool down. So now I've gone on my little adventure, and now I come back. I might do a couple of poses where I ask children questions. It's very interactive. I might get them to talk or do things or react with me. And then we'll do a relaxation or some shavasana, which is generally a visualization that is probably 3 or 4 minutes. Okay? And they can do that any way they want. They can be lying on their backs. I used to teach 2 little girls at home. They like get their blanket and their pillow, and they would have fun. In some cases, I would even roll the children up in their mat like a little sausage. Incredibly effective for the children. They love it. Yeah. So we like roll them in their mat. We use our props to balance on our head. Yeah, like we roll them up like a pancake. And then they can't go anywhere. So incredibly effective and incredibly fun. Okay. So we're actually going to do a kids yoga class later so you guys can feel what it's like. Because I think for us as teachers and adults, the hardest thing I've ever seen with teachers who are training to be kids teachers is that kind of like letting go and being silly. And I think we think it looks so odd for us to be silly, but actually it looks really cool because I think it's such an incredible skill for people to tap out of that adultness and become a bit more playful. And it's the hardest thing to get, but it's once again, it's practice. We need to learn how to be a bit silly. And it's also, people are different. So although my teaching is, for kids specifically, is quite animated and we might do funny voices, it'd be fun, some teachers are a lot more timid and they're a lot more nurturing and they might teach a different class. So once again, this isn't the one way, this is just what I teach. I actually just, Cami and I, with our kids training, we had someone who did her exam this weekend, and she was quiet and really but had the most amazing ability to just bring kids in. She would just sit there and they would just listen. How do you get these kids? People are just different and teachers are different, and so you'll also, just like adults, you'll attract the kids that need that. You know, some children want a little bit more quiet. I might be too loud or overwhelming. It just depends. Okay. So one of my one of my favorite things, and I learned this in OT, but it's quite a big thing in kids yoga too. But we always understand that we've got the 5 senses of the body. There's not 5, there's actually 8. I don't know how many of you guys knew this. So when we're teaching kids yoga, we want it to be as multi-sensory as possible. So if I can bring in sound and touch and feeling and smells, if they want to, smells or taste, not often, but you could. If we can bring in as much senses as possible, it allows them to be more aware of this moment. Okay, so the more senses I have, the more attention's not the right word, but the more involved I can be. It's more entertaining. There's a lot happening. I'm stimulating all my senses, all parts of the brain, and so it gets me involved a lot more. Okay? So multisensory is really fun, and it gives us a lot to work with. So if I think about my 5 senses, we've got the sense of sight, which I think, if I get my number correctly, I think is responsible for 70% of our sensory perception. Okay? So if I speak about the senses, it's not only my ability to see. Can you guys hear me online? Because it's a bit rainy here, it's a bit loud. Fine, okay. So if I speak about the senses, it's not only my ability to see, but also my perception. Can I make sense of what I see? Right? So I'm going to take in that input, my brain's going to make sense of it, and I can perceive that information. That's what children are learning. Like, I might see the letter A, but I don't know what that is. So I need to learn the A, I need to figure out in my head, and then I need to be able to draw it. There's a lot of processing that happens there. So the same thing, when we're doing visual system, we can use cards, like yoga cards with poses on them. We can do mirror games. One of my favorite ones, like Amy's going to come and stand in front of me. Ooh, okay. And I want Christina. Okay, so Amy's going to stand there. Christina is going to face Amy. And I'm going to stand here. So you're the person. Okay. I'm the teacher. This is one of my favorite games. Okay, I'm the teacher. Christina's going to keep looking at Amy. Okay. I'm going to do yoga. Amy, you can actually move a little bit further back. Okay. Christina's only going to look at Amy. I'm going to do yoga poses. Amy's going to copy me. Christina's going to copy Amy. You're just going to mirror me. So what I'm teaching children is they must look what I'm doing, they must copy it, and be able to show it to their friend. And they need to concentrate, okay? So the game would kind of look like this. So that's kind of like a mirror game. And this seems easy for us, but that takes a lot from children. They need to see, perceive it, make sense of it, do it, and repeat it. Okay, so that's my way to bring in the visual system. Auditory, easy. Songs, music, instruments, stomping your feet, clapping your hands. We can bring in sound very easily. Singing bowls, all that kind of stuff.
What did you say the 8 senses are?
I'm going to get to them now. Okay. So visual and hearing. Okay. We've got our sense of smell, which we can bring in our classes. A friend of mine makes like magic mat sprays, which are like essential oils for kids, and they're blends. Just as with adults, anytime we deal with smell, we want to ask permission first. So children can also say, no, I don't like that, and they might not want it. So everything is a suggestion. Would you like to have this magic spray? Maybe we spray it into their hair and we smell. So you can weave in essential oils, or you can bring in lemons and whatever you wanted to do, whatever smells you wanted to use, you can weave it into your class. You can be super creative with it. Maybe you want a theme just around the sun, and you want to bring in something that, like a lemon that's yellow, the sun's yellow, so on and so forth. Okay? Taste is a bit tricky. I don't like bringing in sweets or foods into my yoga classes, because once you do it once, it becomes an expectation. So I would always do it like at the last class of the year, we might do something. And also, with food, we need to then inform the parents, maybe there's allergies and food restrictions. So for me, just don't cross that bridge. so much easier. But of course, we know you can bring in taste, you can bring in mindful eating. What does it taste like? What's the texture? You can do that with kids. Okay? We've got the sensation touch. All right? So touch is pretty easy in terms of we do yoga without shoes on, which I love. Bare feet or clever feet. So we can walk on blocks. We can put our hands on the floor. In yoga, we get a lot of weight bearing through the upper body, which is great for kids in terms of building body awareness and also just different change in orientation. So touch is easy. You can bring in rolling them up in a mat. You can do partner yoga where we interacting and touching our partners. So that's one way. It's often done very easily in a class. Okay? Our sixth sense, which you guys have heard before, is called proprioception. Okay? So proprioception is our awareness of our body in space. So proprioception is what tells me that even if my eyes are closed and I do this, my proprioceptors in my joints and my muscles are telling me that my arm is at 90 degrees out to the side. Okay? I can now do the same thing. There's a little bit of planning involved to bring my arm out here, but I know that this is where my body is in space even when I'm closing my eyes. Okay? So we work a lot on proprioception and body awareness in adult yoga too, knowing where my body is. Okay? So in kids yoga, we get that through pressure. Downward dog, lying on my belly, lying on my back, rolling myself up in a blanket. All of that input into my muscles and my joints are teaching me where my body is. So in kids yoga, we can do things like downward dog, like little froggy hops, like these, like little donkey kicks. Right? So that's getting like, my head is upside down, I'm getting awareness into my body, so it's teaching them where their body is in space. But anytime I'm telling them, okay, put your arms out, look at your arms. Okay, can you see that they're out? Proprioception. Can you see them? Because maybe they're like, I can see them. I'm like, no, you're not. They must be like that. So that's proprioception. I'm going through this very fast, and I'm very aware I'm speaking fast. I want to do a class because before penny counts. I'm very fast. Okay. So proprioception, I'm sure you guys have heard that one before. Yeah. Okay. We work on it in yoga. Okay. The next one is our vestibular system. Okay. Have we heard of vestibular? Okay. So our vestibular system is our awareness of our head in space. It's our movement center. Okay. So my vestibular system tells me I'm spinning in a circle. My vestibular system tells me my head is underneath my heart, I'm inverted. My vestibular system tells me I'm dizzy. Okay? So we have receptors in our inner ear, in our middle ear. So that's why swinging, merry-go-rounds, inverting, those put my head in different positions to my body, and I kind of need my vestibular system works to perceive that movement. Am I going fast? Am I going slow? Am I upside down? Am I right side up? Am I going forward, backwards, or turning? It's all my movement. My inner ear makes sense of it. Okay? It's different for each person. Some people like merry-go-rounds and roller coasters. Some people hate it. So some kids may not like going upside down. They might not like doing, I was going to say bola makisis, maybe somersaults. Okay, they might not like doing roly-polies. That's fine. Maybe it doesn't feel good for them. So we know that if a child's not doing something, it's not because they're naughty or because they're defiant. Maybe they just don't like it, which is also fine. So we don't force them to really do anything. So vestibular system, we do it a lot in yoga. We're always moving. We're upside down, we're right side up, we can lie on our backs. They can do half handstands up the wall, kids are really good at that. And they're also incredibly good with arm balances, like crow. Not other arm balances, just crow. Okay, so vestibular system, it's in our inner ear. So you guys have maybe felt if you have like an ear infection, you feel a little bit maybe like dizzy or vertigo. Also linked to our hearing system a little bit. Okay, any questions about vestibular? No. And the last one, which I think really just stands out in yoga, is called interoception. So that's the awareness of what's happening on the inside body. So it's actually our awareness of, ooh, I'm hungry. Ooh, I need to go to the bathroom, kind of thing. But it's also, ooh, my heart is beating really fast. My breath is really fast. Okay? So in yoga, we bring a lot of awareness to the heart rate and the breathing rate. So we might do a game where we're running on the spot, we're running, whatever. And then I might say, okay, pause, and then put your hands on your heart. Can you feel your heart? Can you feel if you slow your breathing down, it also slows your heart rate down? So we're also teaching children about what's going on the inside. You can teach them about their body, their fingers, their bones. You can teach them about how their knee goes bend and straighten. Maybe don't tell them flexion, extension. They're not going to know what you're talking about. But you can teach them about how their body moves. Can you see that your foot on your knee can only bend and straighten? Can you see how your shoulders can do all kinds of things? Because we need to use them. All right. So as much as we bring awareness to the outside body, we can do it for the inside body too. And that's kind of what's really nice about yoga, is that you can really tap into anything in a way that's engaging, fun, and then also non-judgmental. Okay. Any questions about kids yoga? So Ben's asking if a child doesn't want to do anything, would you ever ask why? And I think it really depends, because it's the same thing with kids. We're not going to be like, ooh, why are you doing it? And then try to get to the bottom of it. Because we're just a yoga teacher, right? So I think you would get a lot of kids that will come in. Some kids are, and Cami actually highlights that you get 5 different types of kids. You get the observer. They're like, I'm just going to watch fun. Then you got the kid that's like, it's all about me. Like, teacher, I can do it. Teacher, look at me. And then you're like, thanks, Johnny. So I acknowledge them, like, well done, Johnny, cool, nice. Like, you want to, like, don't ignore them, shame. But so you will always have one kid who wants the attention. You've also got the other child who might just want to sit by your side the whole time, because they're kind of a bit attached to the teacher. You'll get other kids who are like a little bit mischievous and so on. So in that case, I would get to know the kids. But if I was saying, okay, we're going to do down a dog, and then they won't do it, for example, and then I might say, don't you like this one? Or whatever the case may be, the kids are honest.
Yeah.
They'll be like, it makes me dizzy. And I'll say, oh, you know what you can do? Maybe while we bring a dog, you can be a cat. Really not a problem. More in terms of forcing, I mean, let's say we were doing, let's say we were walking up to, like with kids, you can do this with them quite easily. They like it. They don't mind it. It's fun for them. So some kids might go like, I don't want to do that. And then I'll say, are you scared? And then I say, yes, I'm scared. And I say, that's fine, you can watch if you want to. I won't say, no, you have to. Which you wouldn't do anyway. They really like doing things like half handstands, where I do a down dog, and then the kids stand on your back. They make like an L shape on your back. So kids love interacting, like wheelbarrow walks. You don't know those? Kids love that stuff. So I'm walking on my hands and someone's holding my feet. Super good for their arms, right? And balance and coordination, and it's interactive. So there's really lots you can do in terms of physical, but you can also do, for your older age groups, you can do journaling. You can paint mandalas. You can do a sensory game, like what's in the box, and then just feel it and try and guess what it is. You can make like a glitter jar, which is one of my favorite things, where you take kind of like a bottle like this, you fill it with hot water, glue, glitter glue, and normal glitter, and then the glitter sinks to the bottom, kind of like a snow globe. And then whenever someone's angry, you can tell them to shake the bottle, like put all your anger and frustration in the bottle, and then just watch the glitter, and then all the kids will be like staring at it for like 5 minutes. You joke, incredibly effective. So you've got like a calm down jar. You can do one of I mean, sometimes for older age groups, like maybe they're 12, I would give them a yoga pose and tell them, okay, what can you think of that this can also be? Like, get them always a yoga class. You can weave in other stuff, but it's always going to be predominantly yoga. But you can bring in creative, so journaling, writing, you can do discussions, but I think that kind of takes on more facilitation role, which I think requires a little bit more in terms of you to know how to work with kids. So we can kind of stick to the yoga for yoga teachers. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Do you have to do mixed ages groups? Or you have to be very specific to say this class is on the
Yeah.
this is-
Very good question. So Ala's asking, would you do mixed ages? So if I was teaching regular classes, I would demarcate them because it's just going to make your life easier. But you don't have to demarcate them according to ages 3, 4, 5. So I would do 4 to 6, preschool, 6 to 9, 10 till 12, 10 till 13. So you kind of preschool, primary school, secondary phase, grades 4 to 7. Because they get on different things. But if I was at a festival, I taught a class with the youngest, oh my gosh, he was so cute. He was like 3. And so also another very important thing, children only learn their lefts and rights when they're like 6, maybe 5, but 6, grade 1 about, because that's when it becomes important. Only establish dominance at like 5 or 6, grade 1. Up until then, some children don't even have their dominance established yet. So left and right is a big thing. So don't expect a 4-year-old to be like, no, your left side. No, they're not going to know it. You can say, no, you must look towards the forest. No, you must look towards the child. Okay? Or you won't even do a class that brings in left and right. So that's a very good example of age appropriateness. But when I taught that festival class, my youngest in the class was 3. The oldest was 13. And I kind of met it, look, this was a festival, it's not a big deal. I kind of met it in the middle, and I did a lot of partnering. And the younger kids paired up with their parents. And I kind of met it at like a 7-year-old level. And surprisingly, the older kids loved it. Because I also think older kids don't,
There's no pressure.
there's no pressure, there's also they kind of like it. The boys, they were actually 3 boys. And they loved it. So it's not a train smash if it happens, but it definitely helps. Because another thing I also want you to think of is, it's not just about what I'm teaching, it's the language I'm using. I can't give a 4-year-old a 3-step instruction. I can't say, stand on your feet, lift your arms up and look up. They just heard look up. They miss the rest of it, okay? So I can only give really 1-step instruction at a time. And then when they get older, 2-step instructions. And then make the cues more complex. Okay. So I wouldn't even cue where their feet must go. I would maybe briefly, but I don't really mind. They're figuring it out. Okay. See, schools are becoming a lot more receptive to yoga. It's a bit challenging to get into schools, but I think now that we have more adults practicing yoga, we have kids, they know the benefits. They know. Any questions online? Okay, are you guys ready to do a kids yoga class?
Yes.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that each of you have a block or a pillow or something that you can carry. If you have a block, the wooden one's going to be harder than hang. We like the chair. Okay. Now, I'm going to teach you guys as if you are kids. All right? So, if I ask questions, feel free to interact. It might also happen that you ask a question and the kids don't say anything, it'll get weird. But yeah, just to kind of show you that it's not always quiet. So, you guys are 7 years old, you're in grade 1. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you really? Then you have to go to high school.
Okay. So we would all come to the yoga class and I would start with everyone on their mats because this would be routine. Every time we start the class, we start in the same way just so that we can really build kind of a bit of routine as this is how we start yoga. I'm going to ask that we make ourselves into a little bit more of a circle in the studio. So maybe Francesca can come in a little bit of a diagonal. I don't mind Inka if you move a little bit inwards, but it's just going to make it a little bit more interactive. So you can come to seated on your mat. I don't have my singing bowl here today, so I'm going to try and do something different. Okay? So welcome everyone to your kiddies class. We've got some lovely friends in the studio and some nice friends online. So if you don't remember me, my name is Taryn. And who's ever done a kids yoga class before? No one. No, I'm just joking. So that's lovely. So today we're going to go on an adventure together. Okay? And I know it's super rainy in the studio today, but today we're going to go on an adventure to the beach. Okay? Who's been to the beach before? Nice! Everyone's been to the beach before, so we know what we're going to do. So I want you guys to imagine what it's like going to the beach when we go there just now. But before we go to the beach, we need to just arrive in our yoga class. So we're going to come to sitting on our bums, cross-legged, bring your hands onto your knees. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. And just give a little wiggle into the shoulders. You can do a little shaking from side to side. And then with your eyes closed, I want you to feel into your breathing today. Okay. So remember, when we breathe, I want you to imagine there's a big balloon in your tummy. And when you breathe in, the balloon gets bigger. So the belly button moves out and we make our tummy nice and big to make space for all the air. And then when you breathe out, it's like all the air moves outside of the balloon. And this balloon can be whatever type of balloon you like. It can be any color, it can have any patterns on it, it can be any shape. And I want you to see if you can breathe 5 deep, big breaths into your balloon. The biggest balloon that you could ever have. Two more big breaths. Make the balloon as big as you can. And out. Good. So have you guys ever blown a balloon really big and then let it go? Have you guys ever heard the funny noise it makes? Okay. So we're going to imagine we're a big balloon, and then on the outside you're going to roll your lips. You're going to yeah. Be playful. Okay, let's do one more time. Big breath in. And big lip roll. Nice, guys. Good. Open up your eyes. Take a big stretch. Nice and tall. And then breathe out. Good. So like I said, today we're going to go to the beach. Alright? So I want you to take your block with you. We're going to pretend that this is our backpack. So we're just going to put our feet on the floor in front of us. Put your backpack on your mat. Now, who can tell me what do we need to take to the beach when we go?
Water.
Water and towel. Okay, so I want you to reach all the way back behind you. Just pretend that you're grabbing a towel. Put it in your bag. Put it in your bag. A big water from the other side. And go to the other side. Okay, 2 more things. What else do you take? Sunscreen. I want you to take this hand. Can you reach it over to the other side? Put it in your bag. One more.
Sunglasses.
You're cool kids. Sunglasses going into the bag and put it in. Sorry guys, I'm just pausing because I've lost them. Just pretend you're still having fun. Okay.
Beach. Have we got you? We lost you on the way to the beach.
We got left behind.
Oh, it's my internet. Let's see how it goes. It's just we've got a massive downpour that just came down. Okay, we're still on the way to the beach. Okay, so we've got everything in our bag. I want you to take your backpack, take a big jump up. Take your backpack with you. And we're going to start by taking a walk to the beach. We don't have a car. Okay, so hold your backpack. All right. Now, as we're walking our way to the beach, we're going to come across a whole lot of stop streets. Right? Not stop streets, flashlights. So when I say green, you're going to go super duper a challenge, we're gonna go with our backpack on our head. So maybe you want to hold your backpack there. If you're feeling brave, see if you can walk with your block. Baby steps. Don't worry, we're not going to do green. That would be silly. Okay. Grab a hold of your block, go green, green, green. And red. And one more time, orange. Green. And orange. Good. Cool. Can you see what we see far ahead of us? I see just the little tip of the ocean. Do you see it?
Yes.
If you don't, you must walk faster. Okay. We're going to take our feet onto the sand and just put your backpack down onto the floor. Okay. So now I'm going to teach you what we call a sun salutation in yoga. And we're going to do 2 of them. And this is a kind of dance that you can do anytime once we learn it. Okay, you don't have to do it. So I'm going to teach you guys a sun salutation song. And I'm going to sing it, but you guys will just listen because you don't know it yet. But as you learn it, children can then sing the song themselves. Okay? So the sun salutation is a song and dance that we do to say hello to the sun now that we're on the beach. Okay? So you're going to take both of your feet all the way to the top of the mat. We're going to do the first one really slowly, and then the second one, we're going to sing it all the way. Okay. Now what's really special about the song is that I've got a part, and you guys have a part. So we're going to see if we can learn it today. Okay. So I'm going to say, arms reach up, and you guys are going to say, wave to the sun.
Wave to the sun.
Okay. Now hang down low. You guys are going to say, tickle your toes.
Tickle your toes.
Yes. Take a big jump back, and you guys say, just like a frog.
Just like a frog.
Okay. Now lie on your belly, just like a snake.
Just like a snake.
Okay. Now together, we're going to look up to the sun. The kids will do this, and it's fine. And then we're going to come into downward dog. And together, we're going to say, and breathe, and breathe, and breathe, and breathe. Good. Now we go all the way to the top. So big jump forward, just like a frog. Hang down low. Tickle your toes. Arms reach up. Wave to the sun. And then we're going to say mountain pose. Look what you've done. Mountain pose. Okay. Now I'm going to test you guys and we're going to see how well we can do the sun salutation. Okay. So I'll do it with the melody because I realize now we're just singing. So it actually goes arms reach up. Wave to the sun. Hang down low. Tickle your toes. Okay. And then I will play the song for you guys. My bad. Then it's big jump back, just like a frog, belly on the ground, just like a snake. Look to the sun. Now downward dog. Don't worry too much about the melody. No big deal. Okay. I didn't make it up. It's a real song. Okay. So I'm not gonna claim it. Okay. Arms reach up. Wave to the sun. Hang down low. Tickle your toes. Big jump back. Just like a frog. Just like a frog. Good. Belly on the ground. Just like a snake. Look to the sun. Now downward dog. And then 3 times. And breathe. And breathe. And breathe. Big jump up. Just like a frog. Hang down low. Arms reach up. Wave to the sun. Mountain pose. Well done, guys. Is everyone still with us online? My connection's unstable, but we got this. You guys are rocking it. Okay, so now we can feel the body's nice and warm. I want you to take a big step all the way to the back of your mat. We've got one more little warm-up before we go on our adventure. So I want you guys to imagine that this is the sand, and at the edge of the mat, that's where the water is. Okay, now we live in Cape Town, and the water's really cold. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to lift up on our tippy toes, and we're going to take teeny little steps, and just as your toes touch the water, we're going to run all the way back to that. Okay, we're going to do it again. All the way up on your tippy toes. Find your balance, and when you touch the water, all the way back. Good. Can we do it 2 more times? Maybe on the highest tippy toes you have. Paddle all the way back. And one more time, maybe this time you reach your arms up. Make yourself as tall as possible. And all the way back. Good. Okay. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that water is very cold. So I'm going to go in a boat. Who wants to go in a boat with me?
Yes.
Do you guys online, you also want to go on the boat? Okay. Okay, come to sitting down, climb into your boat. Don't forget to take your backpack with you. Okay? And put your feet on the floor, sitting nice. We've got our paddle. We're going to go row our boat. Okay. Now we're going to have to crash over a couple of waves to get out. And then we take it nice and slow. It's a beautiful day. The water's flat. The sky is blue. The sun is shining. That's fine, right? Okay, now I want you to look over to your right side. See what you can see all the way far. Look over to your left side. What can you see all the way far? Now come all the way, paddle a few more times. Okay. Good. Now I'm going to look down over my boat. What do you see in the water? Fish. Could be a shark, could be a fish. So we are going to be a fish. Okay. So let's do what a fish looks like. We're going to hop out our boat onto our tummy. Okay. Arms are going to come out in front of us and we're going to swim just like a fish. Swim, 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 swim. And relax. Good. Okay, take 2 full breaths. Now, the next time we swim, I want you to imagine what type of fish you are. So you're going to look up, you can be a big fish, a small one, maybe swim, 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 swim. And come down, lie down on the floor. Good. Make yourself into a tiny little shell. Come to sit down on your heels, wrap your arms down, a tiny little shell on the seashore. Good learning opportunity to teach them some tongue twisters. Now imagine you are this tiny little shell and the waves are coming over you, but you're staying super still. Good. Take 2 more breaths. And slowly come out. Come to sit back onto your boat. Before we start rowing, what kind of fish were you guys? But we had a lot of blow-up fish, fish. Who was a big fish? Like a mula fish. Who was a small little fish like Nemo? Small fish? Who was a rainbow fish? Kids always choose rainbow. They always a rainbow something. What were you guys online? What type of fish were you? Big one. Oh my goodness. Nice. So we all got big fish and we were little fish. We were all very different ones. Okay, let's go rowing again. Maybe this time you want to lift your feet up. Rowing big and slowly, work your balance. I see another little animal. What can you guys tell me about an animal that's got clippers?
Crab.
A crab. Do you guys know how a crab walks? So I'm going to show you how we do crab walks. You're going to bring your hands behind you, lift up your bum, and we're going to walk around on our mats. Walk around, walk around. Walk in a circle like a crab. Maybe you want to be a one-legged crab. Maybe be an other-legged crab. And come to sit down. Have you guys ever done those before? No. Those make our arms and our legs very strong. And also crabs are very funny when they walk. Okay, back on our boat, let's go rowing. I think we can see one more animal. Okay, it's a shape. It's got 5 legs. Can you imagine what animal it is? A starfish. A starfish. So when I say 3, we're going to take a big jump up into a star. Good. Now can you make yourself the tallest star ever? Lift onto your toes, reach high. your eyes for a moment. Now, just like we were a baby shell, imagine you're a baby starfish. Deep breath in and deep breath out. When I say 3, we're going to jump up and be the biggest starfish we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, and small. Sorry. Jump down. Okay, and small one again. Woo, I saw some really big starfish. Do you think we can do that one more time? Okay. 3, 2, 1, big jump! Nice! Lift up onto your toes once again, find your balance, maybe wave your hands to your neighbors. And come back into your boat. Come to sit. Last little time rowing our boat. We're going to go back onto the shore. So you're ready, we're going to have to ride the wave a bit. So you're going to have to go faster, and then when we land on the shore, we can do a little bit of relaxing. So we're going to go fast over the waves, and then land back on the sand. Good. Which one was your favorite animal? Crab.
Yeah.
Starfish. Is there other animals you can think of that also live in the ocean? Dolphin. Octopus.
Eel.
Whales. Sea anemones. We can be lots of things in the ocean. Maybe you've seen them all before. Mussels. Good. Let's come to sit with the soles of the feet together. Now that we're back on the earth, back on the sand, we're going to be a little butterfly. So a little butterfly just flying its way around the beach. Can you guys feel that the breath is really fast? My body feels really hot. Maybe your body feels hot, maybe your heart's beating fast. So we're going to use this time just to bring it all the way back down. Okay, so let's take it slow. Let's breathe in, bring the knees up high, and big breath out. Big breath in, and big breath out. Last one, big breath in, and out. Good. Now we're going to come to sitting in any normal position. We're just sitting out on the sand, and I'm going to teach you one of my favorite breathing exercises today. And it's actually called bumblebee breath. And we might see bees on the beach, right? And they're always next to our cool drinks and our ice creams. So when we do bumblebee breath, we're going to take our thumbs and you're going to put it in your ears, but not yet, otherwise you won't hear me. Okay, so our thumbs are going to go in our ears and we're going to close our eyes. Now if you don't want to close your eyes, you can make little windscreen wipers for your eyes. Okay, if you prefer to see. We're going to take a big breath in through our nose, and then when you breathe out, we're going to hum, just like we do in music class in school. We're going to go, Okay, and when you block your ears, I want you, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes, and I want you to listen to what you hear. Okay, do you guys want to all do it together?
Yes.
We're going to do 5 deep breaths. Okay, so hands into your, thumbs into your ears, take a big deep breath in, and humming. Another one. Do 2 more. And then when you're done, if you can hear me, put your hands down on the floor. What did you guys get? Did you guys hear the bees? Were they in your head? Yes. And how do you feel now? Nice. That's a very common response you'll get. I feel nice. Good. Okay, would you put your hands on your chest? Can you feel your heart and your breathing now? Is it still as fast? It's nice and slow now, hey? You see how breathing made it nice and slow. Good. So now our bodies have worked really hard. We've relaxed the bodies a bit. So now we're ready to move into our Shavasana. And Shavasana is like our relaxation. It's when we get to put all the different puzzle pieces together and we can relax the bodies. Okay. So, before we come to Shavasana, we've got to get used to lying on our backs. So if you want to get a blanket or a pillow, you can grab one. It's not going to be very long, but we're going to come to lie on our backs. And I want you to make the arms and the legs nice and wide, take up space. Before we move into Shavasana, we're going to do some sand angels. So we're going to move a little bit. Now, you might have lots of space. You might not have a lot of space, so that's okay. Okay. So if your mat might be a bit difficult, so we might just have them lying on the floor. I want you to imagine you creating big little sand angels, making your space into the floor. Good. Do 2 more big sand angels. When you're the biggest you have and you've taken up all the space, you're going to come to lie on your back, arms and your legs all the way into the floor. And we're just going to be here for 3 minutes. So we're going to see, can we keep our bodies still? And with the eyes closed, I want you to imagine that you're lying on a big puffy cloud. And this is only your cloud. No one else is with you. And so it can be any color you like. It can be any size. And I want you to feel that the cloud is like the comfiest cushion, the comfiest bed you've ever laid on. And then as you start to breathe, our magic cloud slowly starts to float in the air. So it can be high, or it can be nice and close to the ground where you feel safe. And this cloud slowly starts to drift through the sky. Maybe you look around and see the big blue sky, you see the sun. Maybe you're even lucky enough to see a rainbow. And we're going to take 5 more breaths there. Slowly floating by. And then on your next breath in, stretch your arms and your toes. And then as you breathe out, make yourself into a tiny little ball. And then slowly rolling over onto one side. Slowly come up into seated. And we're going to finish off our class with big sun breaths as we reach out, make the giant sun with your arms. And breathe out, bring your hands down. Another breath in. And breath out. Last one, making it giant sun. And breathe out. And then bring your hands together. You can give yourself a big clap. And maybe if they were next to their friends, I'd let them give big claps to their friends. And then you can be adults now. As your Francesca's beaming. Okay, any feedback on a kids yoga class?
That was the most fun I've ever had. I wish 7 years. It's my babies. I was like, I never taking kids. Now I'm like,
So it's very, look, not all classes are as, I've been to a lot of classes, but they don't
so
know
where
what
has English moved to this season?
Probably anything from 3 till 8, 3 to 8, around about, yeah. I mean, 4 mostly. I would say, yeah, I would say it's pretty applicable. You would, if kids weren't following, you would just be able to make it up. But I didn't tell you guys what poses we were doing or anything. I mean, star pose could also be a rocket ship. It could also be a giraffe. It could be whatever. So when we teach our poses, some of them get given names, but in our course, we just call it star, but it can also be this and this and this, because we don't have to label it. It can be whatever the child's imagination lets it be. And for you guys online, what was that like? Good.
It was fun.
It was fun. So it takes a lot of energy from the teacher. And so one of the things teachers report is that when we're feeling tired and drained, we don't have the energy for this, but we need to kind of find our own little like internal fire that gets us. So that's also something we need to work on, is like, how do I bring my energy up? Because children are very receptive to energy. If you're tired, they'll be tired. And also kids will come in tired, and then it's okay to do something a little bit more calming with them. Maybe really nice, I did a class once with a 10-year-old, she just got exams, and so we did like a little, she wanted to do adult yoga, and then I did like relaxation and I gave her a little head massage. I was like, whenever did a 10-year-old get a little head massage? Like, if she wanted it, that's fine. I also like, same with any adjustment, you say, would that be okay? Would it? Yes.
How can you handle kids bringing tantrums? That can happen, you know?
I've never had it before. I think because, especially at school-going ages, I think children know, starting to learn behavior. But I would, I've dealt with it more when I was doing OT, and it was so hard. But I would actually, I would give the child a little bit more autonomy. So I would say to them, like, if they're feeling frustrated, maybe say to them, I see you're feeling frustrated right now. Can we do something that will make it better? And I might give them a suggestion, say, would you like to choose which animal we like next? Because sometimes it might work, it might not work. I'd maybe give them an option, or I might say to them, would you rather like to sit and watch us, or would you like to come and sit on my mat? So I would give them an option of what they want to do. And if they don't want to be here, and maybe mom's outside, then I say, would you rather go sit with mom? I would just give them an option and let them decide what they want to do. Because it can change the whole dynamic of the class, but it hasn't happened to me before, I'll be honest. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can notice when a child walks into a class that it's not the best time. And then, even then, you can handle that and say, sometimes I also get, I think with children, the more we can be relatable, it helps. So I might start the sharing circle, and I often what I do with kids is like, thumbs up if you're feeling good, middle if you're feeling okay, thumbs down if you're feeling bad. And then some will have their thumbs down if they're not feeling good. And then I'll say, what do you think we can do to take our thumbs here? And then I'll hear from them. And kids will actually, surprisingly, they're willing to give. And if they say, I don't know, then I'll say, do you want to do yoga with us, or would you rather go outside with mom? And then if they answer, I want to be in the class, and then I'll say, okay, let's see if you can watch if you want to, let's see if we can have a little bit of fun. So you have that compassion, empathy, give them a little bit of decision making, but also still setting, it's this or this. Okay. And I won't say like, do you want to do yoga? I would say, do you want to stay in the class, or do you want to leave the class? I would give them, they would choose one instead of yes or no. But that's also come with years of just figuring it out. It's also not your job to necessarily come down to the reason as to what they're feeling and why, and this, it's the story. So the question is, do you want to do the class, or do you not want to do the class? And if they don't want to, I say to them, like, look, I don't think it's good for anyone that we force them to do this class. They're going to hate yoga. Okay. Any other questions?
I just realized that imagining myself to be 7 years old also allowed me to be more playful with the things we did. I actually allowed myself to, like in Shavasana, at some point I didn't feel like I want to be still, so I just moved a bit and it was okay for me. In a normal yoga class, I wouldn't feel quite okay about it for myself.
Yeah, and I think if a child was fidgeting, I wouldn't really mind. I mean, when we roll them up in the blanket, that's for like extra fidgety children. And then I'll just say to them, like, I'm gonna wrap you in your cloud today, but you gotta be stuck in here now. And they love it. It's really not a problem. So exactly, like they don't have to be a certain way or do anything. It's really, is it a train smash? No. If a child, because I mean, relaxation and shavasana is really hard for a lot of kids. We're not still. So we can offer alternatives, and some children like rather lying on their tummy or something different. So there's always something else you can do. There's something else. I was gonna say, this is harder for those who struggle to like tap into that playfulness. I can almost guarantee you, if you were surrounded by kids, it would be easier. Because you feed off kids' energy. I think it takes a lot to like generate that from your own. But when kids are around you, you kind of find that a lot quicker.
For older kids, which kind of theme you coming up?
What do you
For
mean?
older kids, like for
A theme.
yes.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So with older kids, I could do something a little bit more abstract. Like I might do gratitude, and I might bring in a couple of more affirmations. Like I might do warrior 2 and be like, I am strong. I can do star and say like, I am happy, or I can weave that in. But with those kids, you can also take them, if you wanted to do like a theme that wrote in, it can be a similar theme. Like you can do going to the zoo, but now I'm going to teach them more about animals. So did you know that a giraffe is this and this and this and this? And I can teach them stuff, not only just, I can bring in a little bit more intellectual, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more challenging poses. So I'm not even joking, and part of the poses work well. You can have kids already start doing like jumps, lift one leg, lift this leg. You can do hard stuff with them. Because so what if they fall? They don't mind. They really don't. So I think you can start bringing in stuff that requires a bit more demand. Themes can be abstract. You can do one on, just gratitude for yourself. You can do one on a kind of thing. You'll notice kids. I used to work with the grade 4 group, and they were a lot more willing to be more playful than I thought. Yeah. Cool. Awesome, guys. So that's that. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. It's generally pretty fun and something different. A nice little release for us as teachers too, to be able to study. Okay. So your guys' next session only starts at 4. I finished a bit earlier, so we've got time. So Penny will send a new link for you guys. We'll get Catherine will probably send it to you guys. So we've got 25 minutes before the next session.
Can I ask you, I don't know if you know anyone, but I'm very bit confused regarding the adjustments session tomorrow, what exactly we need to do.
I'll tell you guys now. Cool. Do you guys have any questions about your adjustment videos with Catherine? You guys also